Today I'm going to teach you some advanced string bending licks, tricks, and tips. All right, so I'm going to show you how to get a lot more emotion from every string you bend on the guitar. You're going to learn how to squeeze every drop of emotion you possibly can when bending strings. Here's a short preview of what you'll learn. First, I'll teach you what are called half ghosted bends. These sound really cool. Then I'm going to show you an over the bar line bend, and this is a great little string bending trick. I'll show you some better ways to play double stop bends, and then I'll also teach you how to do string bend chains. Now, if you want to impress people with your guitar playing, this will do it. Hey, I'm Tom Hess, and I've taught these cool guitar bending ideas to thousands of my online guitar students over the years, and today I want to start teaching you. The first technique I'm going to show you is what I call a half ghosted bend. Now, a normal ghost bent note, you may already know, it's where you bend the string without picking it, so we don't want to hear the bend. You're already pre-bending it, then you hit the string, and then you release the bend like this. That would be a typical ghost bend. Well, in a half ghosted bend, we're going to basically do the same thing, but we're not going to release the note all the way down. So, if you bend up a half step, for example, instead of releasing the bend all the way back down, so the note is not bent at all, we're only going to release it about halfway. So you bend up a half step, you're going to release the bend down to maybe a quarter step approximately. So that would sound something like this. So I'm not going all the way down to here. It's only about half of the distance of the bend. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this concept, this half ghosted bent notes, and we're just going to milk it. We're going to play it a bunch of times over a backing track. And it's going to sound really cool, but we're going to just squeeze as much emotion out of it as we can, and we're going to keep hitting it and keep repeating it. So what we've got going on here, we have a backing track that contains two chords, an A chord and an F chord. And when the F chord comes, I'm going to do these pre-bent note to F, but I'm not going to release it down all the way down to E. It's about halfway. Do that a few times, and then I go up and bend a high A note. This next example is called over the bar line bends. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a bend over the first chord, A. I'm going to bend E to sound like F, and it's going to sound really cool. And I'm going to hold that bend through the end of the A chord, and then the chord is going to change from A to F. And that F chord is going to last 3 whole measures. I'm going to hold that bend the whole time, and then when the chord changes from F back to A, 3 measures later, I'm going to still hold the F note and then release it back down to E. And it's going to sound really cool. So you're hearing basically one note stretched out over a 4-measure period of time. All right, so it's like a whole note tied to another whole note, tied to another whole note, tied to, maybe a half note. All right, so let's hear what that sounds like. So what we have happening here is our A chord is playing for 3 measures, and then F will play for 3 measures, and then A again. So I'm going to start by bending from E to F. So this F note is the root of the F chord you're hearing right now. If you need to hit the string again, if it dies out, go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to wait, and then release the bend and nice vibrato at the end. It sounds really cool. To learn more about these over-the-bar-line guitar licks, you can check out my video on YouTube called Over the Bar Line Common Tones and Anticipations. This next technique is called a double stop bend. Now, you may be familiar with double stops already. This is not the same type of double stop bend that we're going to be doing. So you may be familiar with this or this. those sorts of double stop bends, and those are totally cool, but that's not what we're going to talk about right now today. What we are going to do is we're going to start on the second string, 20th fret, and use these two fingers. So you're bending up a whole step. Now with this finger, it's currently not doing anything, we're going to grab the 20th fret of the high E string while the second string is still up in the air being bent. So now you hear the two notes ringing out together. And then we're going to hit this string again immediately. So it's going to sound like this. And you hear that nice gritty sound. That gritty sound is the two strings, the sound waves oscillating over each other. And it sounds really cool. Now you can apply vibrato to this. Now, if you're trying to apply vibrato to a bent note and a non-bent note at the same time, it's really important that you don't try and do the bend with your fingers. Okay? Instead, you do the vibrato by pivoting this part of your hand against the guitar neck like this, and it's like turning a doorknob. All right? It's a lot easier to do the vibrato that way than it is to try and wiggle your fingers in some goofy way, all right? So that's the first measure. It's gonna be like this. And then while that's happening, eventually those two notes are gonna start to decay and ring out. You can just hit the notes together. I would suggest doing it one at a time. You could hit both strings at once, but I think it sounds a little cooler when you do one string and then the other, at least in my opinion. So let's hear it over a backing track. All right, so we're gonna wait for the F chord to come in order for us to do this bend. So right now we got A, and then one more measure. Here we go with the F. Sounds really cool. Now, you can play with the vibrato and, with the bend. As you heard, sometimes I was releasing this note a little bit. And then going back up. You get that kind of a sound. So this note was staying basically the same because it's not bent, but the other note, bending it, releasing it just slightly, going back up, releasing it just slightly, and vibrato on the whole thing. And that makes it sound really gritty, very cool. And you can milk that to the end. You can be playing that for, measure after measure after measure. It just sounds really cool. The next string bending concept I'm going to show you is probably my favorite. It's a concept that I call string bend chains. Now you might want to also check out a recent video I published on YouTube called String Bending Masterclass Advanced Guitar Lesson, because that video goes into some pretty good detail on exactly how to correctly play the string bend chains. It goes into more detail on the how to do that than this video will. So what I'm going to do in this moment is just show you how you would use this over a backing track. String bend chains. All right, let's break down what's happening here. All I'm doing is I'm outlining the notes of the F chord. So in the backing track, when the F chord is being played, I'm simply going to bend up to an F note from a half step below. So this is E right here. I'm bending it up to F. Then I release the bend. And then I slide up to what will be the next note, A. A is on the 10th fret. And I'm gonna actually slide up to the 9th fret and then do a half step bend here. So you hear the A. So we started this way. And then from here, I'm gonna target the next note in the F chord, which is C. And I'm gonna slide up to the B note and then bend up to the C note here. Then the next note I'm going to target is the F note again, an octave higher. Then I'm going to target the A note. Here in this case, I'm bending actually up a full step And then I'm going to go up to the 24th fret on the B string. This is B. Now I'm bending it up to sound like C. Some nice vibrato there. And right there, I'm bending the 24th fret on the high E string, which is E, bending it up a half step to sound like F. So all together, you've got this. And that sounds very good over this chord. And there you have it. Now let's talk about how do you practice this stuff? How do you use this in real music? Well, the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is not to be afraid to allow a note that you're bending to last a really, really long time. I've been teaching a lot of students over the years, I mean, many, many students, and one of the things that I find often among students is they're always afraid that their bent note or any note that they're holding out is going on too long. They, for some reason, think that maybe other people will think that it's boring or it's too much. It's not too much. It's never too much, okay? First of all, when you hold notes out for a long time, it sounds good. And if it doesn't sound good to your ears yet, then maybe that means we need to work on the vibrato or the phrasing or something else. But don't be so concerned about, oh, is this too much? Just milk it to the end, okay? Especially when at least practicing. In real life, if you want to make different choices about how long notes last, when you're recording a song or playing a gig or something, that's totally fine. But for the purpose of practicing, let it go and get as much out of the bend note as possible. And the second thing I want to tell you is to consider the rhythmic aspect of the bent note. And what I mean by that is, instead of just, playing a bent note and waiting for it to die, eventually it'll die, okay? Instead of waiting for that to happen, you can keep this note alive, obviously, by hitting it again, right? You're articulating the note, keeping it in motion, etc. All right? But the other thing is that it can sound cool by either adding a little vibrato or hitting the note, articulating it in a particular rhythmic pattern that might sound nice over the song. So the point is, don't feel like you have to do that and wait for the guitar to stop sustaining. All right, you can make something out of it. Another thing you can do, and you heard me do it earlier in this video, is you can do stuff like that where you release this is like the half ghosted stuff I talked about earlier. You can do those sorts of things. Do whatever you can to allow the note to breathe and last a really long time and sound good along the way. And then the final thing is to help the notes sustain longer. So you get the notes to last longer so they don't immediately die right away. When you move your hand at all, whether it's a slide or you're doing vibrato or anything like that, make sure that the motions, in order to keep the note alive, are strong. Don't be wimpy about how you move your hands, because the more quick the motions are, the more it helps to keep the string alive, so it will last longer. Also, when you know that you're going to be bending a note, and you know it's going to last a long time, and you're concerned that you won't have enough sustain to keep it going without constantly having to hit it, make sure that when you pick the note, that you pick the string straight across, not on an angle in any way. Okay, so when I mean straight across, I mean that the pick slices to the string this way. Okay, it doesn't come up this way, up and away, towards the ceiling or away from you, towards your face. So the pick slices right across, because when that happens, it gets the string to vibrate more this way and not start slapping against the frets. All right, and that will help you the sustain last much longer because it's starting from a stronger point. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell so that YouTube tells you when I publish the next video for you. And hit that like button. Now let me know in the comments section below which guitar players you think play with the most emotion. I have my favorites. I'm interested to see who your favorites are. Now, if you like my videos on YouTube like this one, you'll love my personalized breakthrough guitar lessons. I'm going to show you exactly how to transform your guitar playing from just being sort of okay, pretty good, to being really awesome, okay? And even if you've been feeling stuck right now, or you've been having some self-doubts about your potential to play guitar or to become a really good player, imagine how much better your guitar playing will be when you know exactly what to do, and exactly how to practice, and you have the right order to do those things with. And you have the guidance and roadmap to get you there. Now listen, I've done this for thousands of people over many years. Now if you do the work, if you practice at least 30 minutes a day and follow the things I'm going to show you, I'm absolutely certain I can help you become the guitar player you want to be. I do this literally all day, every day. Okay, this is what I do. All right, so unlike other lessons, you're not going to get some generic cookie cutter lessons from me. My goal is to make you the player you want to be. That's my complete focus. You get lessons that are customized to you, to who you are, what your goals are, your challenges, your strengths, your weaknesses, your learning style, experience, frustrations, and most importantly, who you want to become as a player. So check out my breakthrough guitar lessons at tomhess.net/guitar and see if they're right for you. I'll see you on the other side.